Hi, welcome to this lesson. So far we've been looking at how to define your objects. So this is object definition, the best way to define your objects, and how to access the property value, the value of your properties inside your objects. And we saw two ways of doing that. Okay, now let's look at something else. Okay, let's look at methods in JavaScript. So in the real world, a person or an object would have a bunch of properties. They'd have a name, age, height, stuff like that if they were a human being. But they'd also have some methods. They would they would be walking, talking, waving, things like that. Okay, they'd be doing stuff as well. Those are called methods. Okay, methods are basically functions that do one thing. Okay, just like that, do one thing or more things. It can be anything, but it's just functions that does something, and every function has a meaning. Every method has a meaning. So let's remove this, and let's create our methods from here. So it's very easy to do that actually. For example, I'll design everything like this. As you know, your new line is not going to affect your code, right? So if I do it like this, it'll be easier for me to create my method. Okay, every object, every property has to or method has to end with a semicolon like this. So in order to create your method, you have to first give the method name, just like before, just like your properties. So if I give something like that, I'm going to create a method that's going to make person one wave, something like that. And then just something simple. Okay, just something simple so you understand the concept. And then I have to start with an anonymous function like this, because wave right now is a function, so it's similar to the anonymous functions that we created before. And inside of this, I can give anything. I can say something like, "Hi, I'm waving at you." Just an example, okay? All right. So that's how that works. So how would I make this work? Okay, how would I access this function? It's pretty simple. It's similar to how you would access any other function. You'd have to call it, right? But before calling it, you'd have to uh, call the object name first, and then give a dot. Okay, always remember the dot, and then give your function name like this. Simple as that. Do you see that? Right? Okay. So this particular variable can be anything. It can be any random thingy, but I'm just giving it as wave because this wave is for this particular object. So what I'm creating right now is not going to affect that. So if I do a console.log of wave, let's see what I get. See? Hi, I'm waving at you. That's what I'm getting, right? Okay. So that's the console. Okay, I don't really have to do a console.log of wave. I can just get rid of this, because once I call this, there is a console.log here itself, so that's fine as well. So if I refresh, I'm getting it, "Hi, I'm waving at you." On the other hand, instead of doing it like that, I can just return something in here. I can return, "Hi, I'm waving at you." So wave right now would have the return statement, and um, if I actually do a console.log of wave, I'd get, "Hi, I'm waving at you," like that. Okay. On the other hand, if you forego your parenthesis like this, what are you gonna get? See, you're gonna get the function definition. Okay, return, "Hi, I'm waving at you." So that's what you're gonna get. So that's the basic if a property method. How else do you do that? You can, as usual with any other functions, if you do you want me to create a random function, maybe a random add function, just something like, okay, just a random add function. I'm just gonna add an add function. And also, if you're creating another function or another property after this, always remember to add a comma or it would not work. Okay, okay, that's something you have to remember. So I'm just going to create an add function like this, and basically I'm going to retrieve two numbers from my function call, and I'm just going to return an addition operation like this, right? Okay. So and then I can just call that function add is equal to, what do? I can just do person1 dot add like this, and then 5, 7, something like that. And if I do a console.log of add, what am I gonna get? Sorry about that, I made a mistake in line number 34. Okay, it's num1. All right, so okay, see, I'm getting 12. I'm getting the addition of 5 plus 7. So you can send parameters to your object functions or your object methods as well, so that works. And no matter what, you have to give a comma if the particular method or property is not the last method or property. Okay, all right, so that's how that works. Now, is it possible to access whatever is inside of here? Okay, so for example, if I create two things like this, f name and l name, like this. Okay, let me change this. So f name indicating first name and l name indicating last name, like this. If I do it like this, is it possible to access this? Maybe I can create a function that concatenates these two things and returns the full name of the person. So we already have a lot of properties. Is it possible to access the property? I'd like to know that, right? Okay, so let's see how we can do that within the object, how we can access the property. So I'm going to create a function called or method called full name, okay? And I'm going to create a function for that. Right. There you go. Now, how would you access these things? Do I just give a return f name plus, just like you would usually do, plus l name? Does that work? Let's see. If I refresh, okay. Right now you can't see anything because we are not calling the function yet, right? So if I call for full name, okay, like this. If I create something called full, a variable called full, and if I do a person1 dot full name like this, I don't really have to send any arguments because it's going to take the values from within the object, right? So don't send any arguments, and then let's console.log full. Am I going to get anything? Nope. See, first, when we checked it first, we didn't get the error. That's because the function was never run at all. It was never executed. Now, once I call the function, it is actually executed, and then your console is processing, your browser is processing that error. See, f name is not defined, and if we let our console run further, it'll probably say the same for l name as well. Now, why is it calling these two things as not defined? They are defined, they are here, right? But your browser is not accessing them. That's because it doesn't know that it has to go here and access whatever is inside your object, okay? So remember how we access properties? We'd say object name dot f name or dot property name, like that, right? So if you don't do it like that, even if it's inside of your object, it's not going to work. So I'd have to say person1 dot f name and person1 dot l name, like this. Okay, let me make this a comment so it doesn't get executed. Okay, if I do it like this, if I return person1 dot f name and then a space person1 dot l name to create the full name, is it gonna work? Yep, it works. So even if it's inside of your object, always reference your properties or methods with the object name. That is actually very redundant if you think about it, right? Why would you do that? Why can't you just access your property from inside? Okay, why do you have to give the name of the property? So that's where your this attribute comes in. Okay, I'll place it here. This keyword, okay, that's where this keyword comes in. So it basically means that this particular block or object or function or whatever, so you're going to access whatever is inside of within it. You're accessing whatever's inside. Okay, so instead of person1, if I give something like this, basically this. Okay, so this dot f name and then this dot l name, and what it means is this particular, so this particular block. Okay, so in this particular block, get f name. In this particular block, get l name. Get the f name of this particular block, get the l name of this particular block. And if I refresh, is it working? Yep, it works. So this is your this keyword. Okay, that's how your objects work. So that's pretty much it for this lesson. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.